Right. So hello, everyone. So happy to see you all here. Thank you, Chris, for the introduction. So many thanks for coming to this conversation and to talk to us today for this initiative with the fellowship. So I'm Xenia, as Chris said, I'm the community manager of this fellowship, and I will try to teach you with a story that I hope resonates with you, with your experiences, and entices you to feel certain that you want to apply and become part of our project. So let's start. And I want to start with this tale. Some of you may have heard of St. George, actually the patron of England, and the legend of the dragon. And today I'd like to present our work by introducing you to this story if you don't know about it. So for those of you who don't know about this tale, legend has it that the dragon was terrorizing the local people of the village. And so to appease the creature, they began to give tributes and sacrifice animals to feed his hunger until they had no longer anything else to give. So the king then decreed that they must offer the local children to keep the dragon at bay. And so each day the lottery chose to sacrifice every single kid until the king's daughter, the very princess, was selected. And as she was being led to the dragon, George happened by. And horrified by what he discovered, he offered to slay the dragon and rescue it from its claws and fire. So what does this have to do with data stewardship, you may be asking? And that is a really good question. So if we think about it, really, every castle is every single institution in the UK. Every university, every ministry, hospital, consortia, they are our castles in the UK, and they are being seized sometimes by dragons that feeds on data, all the hurdles that we have. And so each day we keep it at bay by giving away the data from our projects, or not even giving it away, but maybe not making full use of the data. And it is only until we reach that point that we realize we're losing too much, our princess, that it's the time for us to see that it's too valuable tribute that we can't afford to lose. And so our knights, our St. Georges, are our data stewards, that they can come to the rescue and get back all the tributes, all the data, and our princess, and make full use of it. But unfortunately, as you all know, there's the dragons everywhere that are seizing our castles. And we've identified three common dragons, three common hurdles. First of all, time and funding. Limited resources and staff, funding that goes away with every political change, redistribution of wealth. I don't need to explain it. You may well know all this as a hurdle that you have every day. And number two, it is that we have a problem with buy-in. I imagine some of you here today will be interested in this fellowship because there are gaps at your institutions that you want to cover, but have been unable to turn the tables at the faculty level or maybe research department level to make that change. And so our aim is to make those kings and queens feel unease to see that so much is given away with the current practices. So we're giving away our princesses the very, very, very useful tribute. And finally, we have a problem with skills, right? We have a problem with capacity building, and it's vital. We can't really afford to just keep hiring staff to cover the gaps. And so we need to train the existing workforce, a highly qualified workforce in the UK, if I may say, to be aware of data and data management and its hurdles. And that, again, takes time and funding. So what is it that we're proposing you today to cover that? And as you already know, we're proposing a fellowship. And this is something that you may be thinking now, we are here just to rescue you, to be our St. George's and happen to pass by and rescue you. Well, this is where the idea, the proposition that we offer differs from the legend. We believe that there are really St. George's in each and every castle, each and every institution. And we believe that those St. George's is everyone here today wanting to be part of this fellowship. So if you're attending this seminar, you may have identified that you have either a full-time data manager role, steward role, or most likely have some added skills to complement that day-to-day job that includes data management. So probably the problem is that you have limited weapons, limited resources. What would have been of St. George if he had not had a weapon, really? So this is where we propose our fellowship, where we offer you those tools, those equipment that we want to make sure that you have the tools and that you feel sure and secure to be those ambassadors of your own institutions. And so we're currently going through our first round of fellows, and this is the second one, as you may have seen already. And the first round of fellows is really a very varied one. You can already see that we have from associate professors to senior research fellows from across many different universities in the UK, really, and also research institutes. So I want you to be certain that we cover every single area in the life sciences. You shouldn't be discouraged just because you're in an area that we are not covering right now. That is exactly what we want to hear from. And Robert, after me, will tell you more about that. We also have in our current fellowships, data experts at different stages of their career, so bioinformaticians, data scientists, really everyone that works in data management, and even a PhD candidate. And actually all our talks today, you will also have the chance to hear from some of our fellows here today, Andrew, Emma, and Saskia, sorry, not Saskia, Korneel, my bad. And you'll be able to ask them whether you have any doubts of how the experiences were, how hard it was, the selection process, whether that is really bringing a lot of benefit to the current day-to-day role. And so to finalize my introduction, I'd like to talk that there's no easy way, really. So what is the realistic view? We have a problem. We've identified at least 3 common issues. And we know that there might be an early success with these fellows with completed tasks that Robert is going to tell you about. But we also know that once the fellowship is over, then what is going to happen with the fellowship? What is the next step for you? So we know that the project will end, the fellowship will end, you won't have any other tasks, but really you are part of a community that we're building. And this is where sustainability comes into play. We are part of a larger network of experts and successful communities of practice. We've partnered, for example, with the Software Sustainability Institute, who is a very successful community of practice in the UK with more than 10 years of expertise. And we're very lucky to have them as mentors to walk us through the best practices. And not only that, we are part of ELIXIR UK. So for those of you who haven't heard of ELIXIR UK, it's a network of 21 UK institutions in life sciences. And the project fully benefits from this membership, from access to all this really big network of experts in many different areas. So, however, you might be thinking that if you are not part of one of these institutions, you might not be able to apply, but this is not the case. And this is also the other benefit. You will join, even though you're not part of this, and yet still get all the benefits from this bigger ELIXIR UK community. And even further, this ELIXIR UK community is part of an even larger project at the European level. So ELIXIR UK is only one node of 22 countries that are part of ELIXIR. So we also offer you the possibility to be part of an even broader European network of experts in data stewardship. And I'm sure Robert will tell you more about what the fellows may be able to join in the future as part of this network. And finally, I think that if you're here, it's probably because you already recognize that there's a need for data management and data stewardship, and you feel you have the skills to make that happen, but you need a change at the department or organization level, and you need the equipment, the funding, the time. So we are here to see how we can ingrain that research data management in the UK. And it is not just about if you join this activity, this initiative, that might be ours, it might be someone else's in the UK, but really when you do. So we invite you to really apply to become part of this fellowship, because we really think that we are pioneering right now with this fellowship of data stewards in the UK. It's probably one of the only ones happening at the moment in the life sciences. So I hope that this makes you feel that this is a pioneering movement from which you can benefit and be part of it, and also in the long term. So thank you very much. And I hope you also enjoyed Robert's presentation with more details about how to apply and really what you're going to be doing as part of the fellowship if you succeed in the application.
Okay, so our stretch goals for this fellowship, as Xenia detailed, is to build a data steward community in the UK and have this embedded into the workplace. There are a couple of ways to bring knowledge into the workplace, but our vehicle in this fellowship is to achieve this through training. So supporting fellows to train people within their universities and institutes, and this is what we said we would deliver as part of the overarching grant from UK RI. So here are details of the grant and its work packages, where the work package at the bottom focuses on building this fellowship to migrate the training we're looking to build into UK institutions. So quickly, just to add some context, I'll talk about the partner organisations on the grant. So Xenia has introduced ELIXIR UK, 22 UK member university, 22 UK member universities and institutes, and UKRI is part of the larger ELIXIR organisation with a core mission to integrate and sustain resources in bioinformatics. And relevant to this fellowship nurtures communities and projects in both data management and training delivery, where the UK has involvement in much of this. I'm introducing the Software Sustainability Institute, who partner us in this award and champion activities around building better software. So activities include training, including Train the Trainer, and community building with a successful companion cohort of fellows advocating software best practice in the UK. So there are mature fellowship training and data management activities here that can serve to support this fellowship, but I'll get on to this in a minute. My main aim here is to talk through the activities we look to support in the fellowship and talk about the application process as well. So we are offering a £3,000 honorarium, and we need to say that that is subject to tax. So this is a payment which is made to you directly as recognition of training activities within your institutions. And we've broken this down into 3 activities. So these I'll explain in more depth on the next slides, but we would like fellows to write and record short videos about their expertise in data management to join a pool of videos we're building with the UK data community. Also, we would like to see 2 further pieces of training with a shared mission to embed data management know-how into your institution. So if I talk through the videos first, I have an example here on the left. So this has been uploaded to YouTube, and this is now accessible. So the current fellowship cohort is finishing this activity currently and are producing around 5 to 10 of these videos each. And some are working together on collections as well. So each video is around 3 to 5 minutes long, and we are looking for an informal style, as though you're speaking with a colleague. So we have support around this. We have a template, we have guidance on how to write and record these, but we also partner each fellow with a full-time training buddy to support the process, and I'll introduce the buddies a little later. These videos are proving popular with the training community we are working with at the moment. So in essence, they distill an expert's understanding into a short video, catering for a novice in most instances. So where there is content that doesn't fit into the 5 minutes, the presenter will signpost this information as further reading with the metadata around the video. But these RDM bites tend to fall into 2 camps, and we are happy to host a mixture of these. So we have videos which signpost an area, they give a general introduction and suggest more reading, and others will take a small aspect of data management and explain it in detail. So for example, we have a collection of videos that talk through an image analysis data standard called REMBI that was published last year, where the fellow talks through the paper and how she records metadata for image data archiving. Also, another two fellows have produced a nice set of videos around working with personal data and anonymization and signposting to the national policy documents. There's opportunity here to have data stories as well. So where a fellow talks through a process they commonly perform on their data and tips and advice that could only really come from someone with a working knowledge of that data. So the first activity is these videos, or we're calling them RDM Bites. The other two activities can be chosen by you, and we will support these activities within your institute. So these are explained in detail on the fellowship web page. So I'll talk through these quickly. There are opportunities to develop training material for online and face-to-face learning. So some fellows are taking their content from the videos and translating this into a face-to-face course within their data specialism that they will host in-house. Also, there are opportunities to grow interest groups around data within your schools and divisions, and also to contribute to international projects. So I've put some of the international projects on the left here. So RDM Kit and Fair Cookbook are at the top here, and these are international resources, websites documenting data management know-how and recipes for a life science audience. We are looking at Fair Cookbook next month with the current fellowship cohort for those interested in writing content. And recently we had two fellows contribute material to RDM Kit. And something I want to stress is that the contributions in both resources are tagged with the fellow's name, and we use an ORCID ID as well, just so that we can acknowledge the work. So all work is acknowledged as coming from each of the fellows. So we will support all training activities. Again, this is another benefit of the fellowship for those people looking to engage in training to train. So we employ both the ELIXIR and SSI training courses to train trainers, and these have been very well received by the first cohort in their feedback. So those are the activities we would like fellows to engage in. And as I say, the website goes into more detail and gives examples of each of these. So the fellows we hope to attract will be diverse in their fields of interest. And in our current cohort, we see this. If you are concerned that your area or your ideas will not fit with the fellowship, then please talk to us. So we have an email address to ask queries. I'll give that in a minute. And questions can also be answered at the end of this webinar. If you want to start putting anything into chat now, we can start to answer these at the end of this call. We are looking for training to cater for a life sciences audience. It is likely that this audience will be novice, but not always. Training should not be part of an existing degree course or a course which is paid for. Although if you would like to add data management content to an existing free course you run, then this would be great. And in fact, we have a fellow looking to do this. So there's something I'll mention now that has been a discussion within the fellowship, and that is to ensure people know that we are distinguishing between the analysis of data and data management. So these are coupled, obviously, but we're seeking an emphasis here in training and on how to manage and share data and not how to analyze it. So for example, if I were looking to write training around transcriptomics, I'll be talking about things like, the files are large, you have the possibility of truncation. If I was working with sensitive data, I'll be talking about the issues with working with sensitive human data. I wouldn't be focusing on the analysis of the data, apart to maybe mention that you're archiving code and you're recording the data transformations as part of the metadata capture. So I just wanted to make that point. We are interested in fellows championing research and data management. So hopefully this slide will help further. So we're looking for any of the following. So we encourage applications from people with general data management know-how. We expect most applications from people with a specialized knowledge of data type. So for example, someone using proteomics or someone with experience of handling questionnaire data. Also, welcome applications from people working with specialized communities. So for example, people working with clinical data or working with ecology data or working with data as an input to artificial intelligence. So we're also interested in specialisms around managing data in large studies, or people working in policy, or people who are building the IT infrastructure as IT professionals. So last year we had applications from data types that we weren't aware of. These people made it to the fellowship, so please don't feel discouraged from applying. Fellows we hope to attract would align to this list. So researchers, predominantly early career researchers, make up the volume of the first cohort, just so that you know. But we stress that all career stages are welcome, and we would like to engage with university and institute roles, including technicians, IT support staff, and people working in policy. So if you know about data, and people working with data really know about the data they work with, and if you're passionate in telling others about how you manage the data, then we would love to hear from you. So before I detail how to apply, I wanted to quickly show the support within this fellowship. So the people you haven't seen so far that are funded full-time on this grant are our 2 full-time trainers who will buddy all fellows to support content development and training implementation. We tried to have a single point of contact for fellows, and this would be the training body. So just at the bottom here, just noting some of the further benefits of the fellowship, where we will train fellows to train. People are interested in this because it then is their introduction to formal and professional training within the role, and it yields opportunities to become involved in international data management projects. Right, application. It is described in detail on the website. Any queries about eligibility or your ideas or the application process, we have an email address for, and it's here. We'll give this information out as well. This will be posted on the ELIXIR website along with the video of this webinar. There is a short web application form for you to write your interests and your academic affiliation, and this is a short process. This is 5 to 10 minutes. The main application is a 6-minute video. So this again is described on our webpage, and we give example videos that you can have a look at. We want to know about you, and we want to know what you'll be looking to teach. So this is on the website. In fact, if I just read this from the website, we want to know about yourself, your role, your affiliation, your data management interest and expertise, why you want to train, and some idea of your data specialism you want to focus in. So the examples of topics you'd like to train in. And we also state that, you know, if your application is successful, this information will not be set in stone. We've seen this with the current fellowship cohort, is that there has been some aligning of some of the goals of the original videos to fit in with usually what other fellows are actually teaching. So importantly, so this is important, we are not looking for a polished video. Please don't spend time on styling. We're also not looking for you to spend time trying to make something to fit exactly 6 minutes. So these videos are scored on 2 criteria. We look at your ideas, and then we look at how you convey your ideas. So there's no scoring for styling, but because at this point, we just want to know about you, and styling comes later when we start to make the RDM bites and the training material. So to summarize, there is guidance on what we would like to include in the video on the website, and at this point we are not looking for high quality production. There we go. I did have a timeline, there we go. So a timeline is here. This again is on the website. Video application process closes next month on the 10th of July, so you have a month. Once scored, successful applications will then be invited to a selection day on the 14th of September. Subject to change, but we believe this is going to be the 14th of September. You won't be asked to prepare anything for the selection day, but instead participate in a number of icebreakers and group activities around the fellowship. But as I say, this information is on the website.
So yes, so I would like to invite, right, the Emma, Korneel, and Andrew. I think it would be great, if you can introduce yourself, but also maybe tell us a little bit about your contribution to the fellowship, Korneel, right? I think that would be great.
Right. Okay. So my name is Korneel Hens. I'm a senior research fellow at Oxford Brookes University, and so I am one of the fellows from the first intake. So my area of expertise is genomics and transcriptomics. So I have been mainly focusing on producing RDM bites in that area, about how to handle RNA-seq data, how to upload RNA-seq data, what are the appropriate databases that you can use, and how to add metadata to your experiments. So I think what I particularly like about this fellowship is that you are in contact with people who share the same interest in data management. And it's also very useful because you are expected to teach about data management. It also forces you a little bit to actually learn even more about data management, because you think you know already a lot, but once you start teaching about it, you have to make sure that you actually know that everything you tell is correct. So it's a good stimulus to actually dig even deeper and expand the knowledge that you think you already have. I particularly also appreciated the Train the Trainer event that we have already done, which gave us very concrete examples of how to improve our teaching style. I can say I already implemented some of those in the teaching that I do. And yeah, overall, it's been a very positive experience for me. Being in the first cohort, it's sometimes plans have changed a little bit along the way. Maybe that's gonna be a bit more streamlined for the second cohort. But on the other hand, the people that you will work with are very supportive and very flexible. So that for me was not really an issue. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to say.
So I'm Emma Karoune. I work at the Alan Turing Institute. Actually, my title is I'm a senior community manager, but I'm essentially a data steward across the health programme. So I work on lots of different health projects, especially with electronic patient health records, so very sensitive data. So as part of the fellowship, like Korneel, I'm working on the RDM Bites videos at the moment, and I'm working on a series of videos about data management with sensitive data. And I'm actually working very closely with another fellow, Albina, who's a data steward at the University of Edinburgh. So I've particularly enjoyed working on it together with her because I didn't know her before, and actually we have a lot of things in common. Even though we actually work on different types of sensitive data, but we've had lots of really interesting conversations about that, and actually like for now I've learned actually loads more about data management just working with Alvina and working on this particular fellowship. Yeah, so I'm going to be going on then to do some lunch and learn talks at the Turing Institute to sort of promote the videos and the work of the fellowship that we've been doing. And I'm also, because I'm part of the Turing Way project at the Turing Institute, I've actually been writing a similar chapters for the Turing Way book to the videos that I've actually been making, so that we've got this kind of cross-linking going on between these two different projects. And I mean, the other things I found really valuable is just the opportunity for networking. So I'm also part of EOS Life as well on another project. So actually that's another organisation that I've linked to ELIXIR. So it's kind of really interesting to go to lots of these different meetings and kind of represent ELIXIR as a fellow in these different meetings. So yeah. Andrew.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much, Emma. Andrew, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's been very well covered. So I'm Andrew Mason. I'm a research fellow in cancer informatics at the University of York. So the reason I wanted to get involved in this fellowship really is that York is somewhere that has a very diverse array of data in the life sciences, from genome assembly to image analysis to patient metadata, transcriptomics, etc. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And what we're really trying to do at York is to improve the training, to get existing life science researchers who maybe have been lab-based their entire careers, getting them into working with data, working out what public data there is and whether it's worth bothering with to help answer their research questions before spending lots of money on sequencing or whatever themselves. So yeah, I've been, similar to Emma and Korneel, it's been really great chatting to other people, seeing particularly other teaching techniques. As everyone is aware, sometimes data management can be quite dry. It's really, really important, but there are a lot of things that you need to do, lots of potentially forms and things to fill in. And it's trying to make that engaging and exciting. And hopefully we've started to do that with these short videos to get a bit of an insight. But it's been really interesting, and it's actually been more sort of politically useful at work than I thought it was going to be. Our department's been very supportive of this, and it's nice little brownie points towards like academic citizenship and all those things, as well as being, as Korneel said, a good way of learning more stuff yourself as well. There's been lots of little tricks and tips that I've taken into what I do in the research side of my job as well. As a grouping, it's very supportive. Even when we're busy, they've been great at getting back in touch with support for making the videos and for what happens next. So it's been a very good group to be a part of. I can answer that for York at least. 0. This is, I think, one of the nice things. I think the fact that because it has an honorarium, you can kind of view it as its own independent job. I think if it was something that you were just doing, if it was just another sort of feather for your hat, I think it's quite tricky sometimes to give it the time it needs. As it was a paid separate thing, it's effectively being treated as a separate. I don't think, in a way, you could kind of do this completely in a silo, completely on your own, independently, and then be supported by the ELIXIR support team, as well as existing fellows and your cohort of fellows as well. I think the idea is that those of us in the first group will still be available for support moving forwards. So.
Yeah, I can comment on that maybe. My experience is that everybody thinks this is a great idea, but it comes on top of everything else you do, right? So they did not tell me to take out time from my other activities. This is something you do on top, like most of the things you do in academia. It just comes on top of what you regularly do. So no, there's no problem with the managers, because they don't see it as impinging on your own on their time. They expect it, at least in my case, to come out of my own time.
One thing that the three of us are potentially slightly more senior in our roles and potentially a bit more in control of our time. This being open to PhD students, bioinformaticians, research technicians, data management within a core, I think that that is definitely a conversation that you would need to have, because there is time associated with it. As Korneel said, obviously it is something that you would do above and beyond your existing work, unless that was agreed with your manager as being something that your core facility or your group wanted to gain, like extra skills, that you could see that having a member of your team develop skills in training will be useful for a core facility, for example. So that could be a discussion to have, but I think it is a question to have, unless you're prepared to do it fully in your own time. I would say that, like, early on there were some things that required you to be available 9 to 5, or I think it was 9 to 5 with the train the trainer. But then since then we've had the occasional meeting, but it hasn't been like loads of time requirements in 9 to 5. So there is a lot of flexibility with this position. But I can understand people being concerned about, particularly if they're within a research group where time is controlled.
Rob, yeah, thanks, Andrew. Rob, yeah, you want to add something?
Yeah,
right?
I think when I used to teach with Work and Trust, and there was what I used to do is I would teach every period of 4 days, and I would just take holiday, and I would get an honorarium for the piece of work we did. We've estimated the work for the fellowship to be around 10 days. And we have been quite receptive to the first cohort in what the deliverables could actually be. So I think initially we were looking for 1 to 2 hours worth of material, which was unrealistic. So we changed that, and we were looking to sort of calm activities as well for in-house teaching and dissemination of information. So we don't think it is a large demand on people's time, but where it has been, we've certainly been reactive to that. I mean, our big mission is to get the information into institutes and finding ways to do this.
Absolutely, Rob. What I just wanted to add about this time commitment, because the event which Andrew mentioned, but also Korneel mentioned, as it was quite beneficial, is ELIXIR training. So I think for the institution, it should be something beneficial, because you are getting like additional training, right? Yeah, in how to train the people, right? Yeah. So it's almost like, yeah. So I will be surprised if the institution will not support that, right? Yeah, because it's almost like a free training in training people, So which, like I said, is so we are getting experts from the whole ELIXIR, so not only from the UK, who are delivering this training.
Exactly. I think this is why people are liking them, because it's another dimension to the training that's actually out there. There are courses that you can go on that are 2 days long. There are courses you can go on that are half a day. The nice thing about these small videos, and they really are working out very well like this, is that they give someone knowledge about some aspect that they wouldn't have really considered before. But what we also have asked the fellows to do, and this has worked well, is give us links at the end of each of these videos for if people are interested in following up with more information. they can access that. So really what you've got is the fellow, and we do see fellows as experts in their fields. They're telling us the story of what they know about and saying, if you want to know more, this is where you look.
Well, we've been doing everything online, really.
Yeah, yeah.
I did travel to meet Robert in Cardiff, which I really enjoyed because we did some filming. That was just a lovely day trip. But yeah, but you can be anywhere in, I suppose anywhere in the UK is fine, isn't it? Because it's a UK.
Absolutely.
We have a travel budget associated this that we have factored in meetings, which of course we haven't used because of COVID, but we will have a look at that over the summer and see whether we can do stuff with the first and second.
So you don't need to be from the UK, but you need to be affiliated with the UK institutions. And the reason for that is because of our funding, right, is coming from the UKRI. So I also answered that one, but you don't need to be, yeah. So as long as you've got affiliation with the UK institutions, right, yeah, you can apply. Again, thank you, and hopefully see your application from all of you very soon. Yeah, and thank you very much also for Rob, Xenia, Korneel, Emma, and Andrew, right? Yeah, for handling all the questions and providing this information, right? Yeah, and so thank you very much, right? Yeah, and like I said, hopefully to see application from you. Yeah, bye bye.